Okay, so thank you for joining. Today at this lunchtime workshop, we are going to be making frittata, carrot muffins, mini pizza scrolls, 5-seed energy bar, and sushi. So lots of things that you can incorporate into your children's lunch boxes. So first thing, I'm going to start by making the sushi. Now the sushi is from a UK collection. So if you haven't found your way around Cookie Doo, we do offer Cookie Doo workshops as well. So please keep an eye out on our Facebook group or contact your consultant. But we run Cookie Doo workshops every 2 weeks. But so in the Cookie Doo UK collection, there's a collection of 10 recipes that involve making sushi. Now, sushi can be made out of all sorts of fillings. So what I'm just going to show you now is basically just making the sushi rice. And I'm going to make tuna and avocado because that's what my kids always like. So I'm just going to pin the other screen so you'll be able to see my screen here. Now, I've already made the sushi. The rice, because it needs to cool, but I just want to show you how easy this part is. So I'm using my spatula against the basket here and lifting the basket out. So I've got my sushi. I'm going to tip that up into a bowl. You'll notice it's not metal, this bowl, because I'm going to be adding vinegar. So you want to be putting it into a bowl that is made out of wood or glass. So from here, I'm going to add, it's a mixture of rice vinegar, a little bit of caster sugar, and some salt. You don't have to add the sugar if you don't want to. I often make it without. So I'm just going to mix that through and just give it a good mix here. Now with the sushi rice, you want to make sure it's cooled before you start making it. So I often do make this in the morning just before school. So a couple of tips on how to speed this up. I will always use the kettle to boil my water first. I will also rinse the rice really thoroughly in the basket before I put it in. You want to make sure that there's nothing, the water's running clear before you are popping that in to cook. The water being already heated up speeds it up by a few minutes as well. And the other thing I do is to speed the cooling down, just get yourself a Tupperware lid and just wave it like that, just to help speed that cooling down process. So that's my tips on getting the rice ready. I'll wait till it's cooled down before I show you how we can, I'll wait till it cools down before I show you how we put it all together. So then I'm now going to pass you on to the lovely Ellen, who is in my team. So we're actually a combination of two teams here. I'm from the Northern Beaches team, and I have Ellen with me and Felicity. And we've also combined with the lovely Lower North Shore team, and we've got Clelia and Rochelle from that team. So passing you over to Ellen. I'm just going to spotlight you, Ellen.
Hi there, how are you all? I just noticed Christine asked, can we make the rice the night before for the sushi? I'm a big fan of this as well, Anthea. I make it for the boys all the time. I haven't made it the night before, Christine. However, I don't see why you can't. My only issue is it might get a bit hard.
Yeah, you can make it the night before. You can keep it in the fridge, wrap it up or put it in a Tupperware box first. It will dry out if you leave it in the fridge for too long. That's the only problem with the rice. So they actually recommend you have your sushi at room temperature, interestingly, which feels a bit weird when you're putting in the kids' lunch boxes. But actually, if I make it in the morning, that's how they have it. It doesn't get refrigerated at all. But I often make more than enough for one day, so they have it for after school snacks, or it's kept in the fridge for the following day.
Thank you. Okay, so today I'm going to make the zucchini and parsnip frittata, which is actually from the Whole Food Child Cookbook, aged from 6 to 9 months. But I've been making it since I had my first child. He's only 3, but I've just continued making it, and I even enjoy it myself. I don't actually make it into a large baking dish. Rather than cutting it into fingers, I put it into the mini molds, and then it's perfect size. You don't have to cut it up. it cooks a little bit more evenly, and it's just freezable as well, which is really good. So you could pop it in the fridge the night before school, and they can take it and it'll defrost overnight and then keep defrosting through the day. So it's really easy. So let's get cooking. I've already got my oven on, and I've got my baking dish prepared. So now it's just asking for some cheddar cheese. So I've got to block it up. Just going to break that in half because it's nice and soft. Next. And I love grating my own cheese. It means that there's no nasty chemicals in there. Every packet of grated cheese that you actually buy contains anti-caking agents, so it's really nice not to have that. And now you can see nicely grated. This one's a little bit sticky, but that's okay. It's still going to taste good. So I just forgot to grab a bowl, sorry. There we go. I'm going to scoop that in, and then if you don't already have a Thermomix and you're probably wondering why this spatula is so funny shaped, it's actually the perfect style to get your cheese or anything out of your bowl. It's shaped perfectly to scoop the sides and get it all out. It's really easy. Okay, transfer into a bowl. Now my zucchini. So it's asking for zucchini, but I'm also actually going to add carrot to today's recipe. So I'm going to add that later with my parsnip. So I just love how quickly it cuts everything and so finely. So if you've got fussy eaters and you want to hide some fruit or some veggies, it's so easy. There's your zucchini, grated nicely. Pop that in a bowl, into the same bowl. And these are a great way to ensure your children are getting the right nutrients as well. You know, it's so easy to just give them a Vegemite sandwich, but there's not enough nutrients in that. You want to make sure that they're getting their protein and their carbs and their fiber. So this is really ticking all those boxes. And you can add anything to a frittata and cook them however you like. You can add corn, you can even use bolognese and pasta leftovers. Really easy. There's my parsnip and my carrot, and I'm adding the spring onions now as well, which I've just cut them in. And now it's also asking for my parsley. Put that in. It's a really fresh frittata, this one, really lovely. But you could even use pumpkin. Really whatever you've got in the fridge. And you can even use, you know, do a quiche Lorraine or frittata Lorraine. So there's our carrot, parsnip and everything. Scrape down the sides. So that's where this gem comes in handy. You can scrape down the sides so easily. There we go. And now it's asking for the 20 grams of virgin olive oil. So now it's going to saute that for 3 minutes.
Can I just ask, Ellen, which frittata recipe is it you're making? Is it the one that says spring frittata?
No, this is the zucchini and parsnip frittata, which is in the Whole Food Child collection. And it's actually frittata fingers designed for introducing solid foods like baby-led weaning. But it's just made from really good ingredients, really easy, and you can just mix and match whatever ingredients you have, really. That's why I like making it.
Thank you.
That's all right. So while I've got you, while that's sauteing, I thought I would also let you all know that if you haven't got a Thermomix yet, you could earn one. So I did that. I decided I wanted the new TM6, which has Wi-Fi compatibility and the larger screen, a bigger bowl, and all of these amazing features to make honeycomb and yogurt. So I signed up through Anthea in Another Leader, and I managed to get my 6 sales in the first 60 days, and I earned not only my Thermomix, but I also earned a second bowl. And oh my goodness, I've never known how exciting a second bowl is. And you can tell you're a mum and over 30 when you're excited about a second Thermomix bowl. I use it all the time. The other day I was making bolognese and I'd forgotten to grate the parmesan, so I just quickly took that bolognese off, put the parmesan on, grated it, done, and there's no difference. It's really been handy, and it's a great easy thing to do. It's fun as well. You meet new people, and you'd be surprised how many of your friends actually probably want a Thermomix. If you're enjoying yours and you wanted to upgrade even, you could earn your upgrade by introducing it to your friends. So yeah, that's something to think about. So while we're on lunchboxes, I actually made yesterday a couple of snacks for myself and my children. I made apricot and coconut with almond meal bliss balls. So they are literally dried apricots, almonds made into almond meal thanks to the Thermomix, 2 teaspoons of honey, so tablespoons, and coconut. And then you just literally mix it together, roll it with your hands, and they keep for a bit over a week in your fridge. Now, you could actually make them into a different shape if you prefer. I know some people are picky with the shapes of their apricot slices that they eat. But they're really yummy, really tasty, and they're also gluten-free, plus there's no preservatives, no sugar. So if you were to give them as a school snack, you'd probably need to change up the almond, because I know nuts are a no-no on the school list. But there's a lot of other recipes for them that don't contain nuts. Some of them actually are just more like a little bar, and you can just use dates and apricots and coconut, and that's a really yummy one as well. And they keep in the fridge for, they're longer than a week actually, so that's really handy too. Okay, so now I'm going to add some spelt flour to my frittata. That's all nicely sauteed. Smells great. So if you don't have any spelt flour, you can use any other flour. It's just that it is a healthier option. Pop that in. And now my eggs. So I have a really skinny little man, and I just find it so hard to get him to eat any kind of protein. So quiches are a really easy way to make sure he's getting eggs, because we all know how good they are for us. So I try and make these every other week or month. And as I said, you just keep them in the freezer. It's really handy. So now I'm going to add that reserved zucchini and cheese. Pop that in. Okay, and I'm going to mix that all together. 20 seconds. Great. So now I'm just going to pop these into my mini molds, and I'll see you in 20 minutes when they're cooked.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay, so we are now going to go over to the lovely Clelia, who's going to show us how she makes her carrot muffins. So I'll just pop you onto Spotlight, Clelia.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. So today I thought I'd present these muffins because I personally love them, my son loves them, and my husband loves them, which is like win-win-win. They're really great because they incorporate carrots as well, they don't use a lot of sugar, and with very little chocolate, they actually taste and look like full-on chocolate muffins, which is why everyone in the family loves them. And when my son sees them, he's always so excited because he's getting chocolate muffins, but they're really carrot muffins. I've obviously preloaded the recipe in here. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to do half a portion. So I'm only going to bake 6 muffins because I did pre-bake some this morning so I could show you what they look like. They only take 30 minutes to bake, but I thought I would just speed it up for you. And so I don't need to preheat the oven. And obviously, well, this is the 6 ones that I'm going to bake today. So you can buy these little casings from Woolies, really easy. So when you do your shop online with cookie dough, with your meal planning and all that. You can just pop in these little cases, and I can't remember, they're really cheap and they look really cute. You know, once they're finished off and they sit in the lunchbox, they look really nice. And no mess. You don't have to wash the tray afterwards. All right, so I'm going to start. I've got a second camera, if you can see it, and that's where I'm going to start popping in my sunflower seeds. So like I mentioned, I'm going to run with half a portion. So it says 60 grams. So I'm just going to pop in 30 grams of it, and then it's just going to meal them. So if you already have a Thermomix, you know how good it is at milling. If you don't have one, 10 seconds at speed 8, and it's going to meal these seeds for us. I can't chat over it because it cuts out the sound, but it's all done already. So 10 seconds, and you can see how good it's milled all the seeds for us. So the trick with using sunflower seeds, in case you're wondering, so you could use almonds as well, but this is the nut-free version. So when you take it to school, it's all nut-free and delicious. So that's a little trick. We're now going to pop in 200 grams of carrots, just roughly chop them. It says to peel them, and that's totally up to you. I normally don't. And 100 grams of pitted medjool dates. So remove the pits because we don't want to eat them. So in they go. And the next one is lid on again, and we're just gonna chop it all up together for 12 seconds at speed 6. It might finish a little earlier because I have half the quantity. So in that case, I will just stop it. You can hear when it sounds empty. So you can hear it's spinning and it's finished chopping. So I'll just stop it 2 seconds early. You just press the silver button and you can stop the Thermomix at any time. So let's see why this is not okay. It's a bit blurry, I apologize, but hopefully you can see. So that's my grated carrots and the dates, and it's gone together with all the seeds. So I'm just going to push it down on the sides so it all goes back to the center. So that was only 10 seconds, so a little bit shorter than what it said, but that's only because I'm running half quantity. 2 eggs in, and next one is 60 grams of milk of choice. So this recipe is really good because it caters for all allergies. It also does come from the same book that Ellen collection that Ellen mentioned, the Whole Food Child. It's really great for inspiration because it caters for children that are really young age, and that's when you need to be careful about allergies. So all recipes are pretty much, nut-free. You can choose the milk if you're dairy, if you have allergies, and then you can also substitute little things like sugar. If you don't want to put it in, don't. You can skip the one. It's only 2 tablespoons, so it's very, very little sugar. My son is a little older, so we can run with that. And then 120 grams of extra virgin olive oil. Make sure you use extra virgin because it just retains its qualities when you're baking. More refined oils, they just lose all the nutrients when you bake them. So all this information is also in the, so when you look at the tips and section in the recipe on cookie dough, it tells you all these little things that I'm mentioning. So 6 seconds at speed 4, and mixes it all together. So really, really simple. So we put all our wet ingredients in. And the next thing is our dry ingredients, which is wholemeal spelt flour. As Alan mentioned, you can use normal flour. This is obviously the gluten-free version. So dry ingredients. Let me push all this down. And we've got our flour. And it goes. And now the fun part, which is the chocolate. So it's 20 grams of raw cocoa powder. So it's very, very little chocolate, like I mentioned at the start. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I'm just going to do 1, half quantity. and 670 grams of dark chocolate chips. So this is where you can get creative. I had only milk chocolate. I put some white chocolate sometimes, like you can just really do whatever you want, or you can skip it if you want to keep it cleaner. But that's all the chocolate that goes in these muffins, and you'll see what they look like once baked. And we just mix them for 20 seconds on reverse at speed 3. Can you hear me on top of this? Probably not. Still noisy? All right. Okay, so that's all done. It just says to fold it through a little bit further with your spatula if you're not happy with what it looks like. I'm pretty happy with it. Just gonna push it down, and then all you have to do now is just fill your muffin cases and pop them in the oven. So that's what it looks like. It looks like a lot of chocolate, doesn't it? And there isn't much in it. So that's why I like this recipe. And so this is what it looks like in the book, The Whole Food Child. So this is what they look like at the end. And these are the ones that I baked earlier today. So just like the picture, except for the little white chocolate chip. But this is what they look like once baked. So 30 minutes at 160 in your oven. Just keep an eye on them. Sometimes they take a little less. That's how cute they look in their little casings. And what I normally do, so I use these lunch boxes from the mix shop. I really like them because they also collapse. Okay, so once the kids are finished eating from them, they can pop them back in the bags and they take 0 space, which is really good. And I just use the lunch box, and you just pop them in there like that. And you can also pop in 2 if you like. And off they go. So lunchbox from the mix shop, really good. It also comes with the fork and spoon over there. So these are really quite handy, and they're very well priced. I can't remember exactly how much, but maybe $15 or so. So really convenient. And so you know, easy to wash and all that. So these are our carrot and chocolate muffin, or just chocolate muffin for the kids. And that's it. You just pop them in cases, the mixture is there, and in the oven, off they go. So there's other recipes on Cookie Dough. There's a zucchini loaf, which I think is really lovely too. There's another recipe in here that also contains a lot of hidden veggies. It's called zucchini and pistachio bread. So if you want to make a sandwich, you could use that recipe instead of using normal white bread. It's got a lot of vegetables in them. I know hiding vegetables in food is a big deal. And all these recipes look really appetizing. They look really lovely. You wouldn't know what's in them, and kids absolutely smash them. So we might pop in some links. I'll do that in the chat after I'm finished. So the other thing I was gonna mention just quickly, if any of you is, I know a lot of you are owners already, but if you know anyone who isn't and is in the market for Thermomix, or if you are in the market for Thermomix, this month, which is about to end, so today's the 29th, so until the 31st included, the current offer is this book that you might have noticed in the background. So the barbecue cookbook comes with your Thermomix purchase. And the other thing, which is something really handy, the travel bag. So if you've been following me on my socials, you've seen I recently traveled with the Thermomix over the weekend. It was my birthday, and I took the Thermomix with me, so I didn't have to cook on my birthday, which was brilliant. My husband cooked for me, amazing. But generally, you know, it makes everything easier when you take it with you, as we all know. And so that's a really good thing to have if you're looking for an upgrade. You know, this is probably a really good time to do that. And someone else will mention something else in a minute. So this is the January offer, which is also combined with 36 months interest free. So that's only running for the next 4 days until Tuesday. It's a very, very special limited edition, the 36 months interest free, because it's Thermomix's birthday week or month, and that's why they're offering these special payment options. So really good time to upgrade, to grab a new Thermomix. That's how I got mine, actually, a long time ago now, over a year ago, my TM6. I was a bit hesitant about the price, and when I realized I could pay it off, you know, in really small chunks, like literally less than $2.50 per day, which is half of what you pay nowadays for a coffee, that really opened a whole world of possibilities, because it's like, and over 3 years, it's a really good time frame where you can relax, you don't have to worry about repaying it. And what happened is, at the end of the day, you know, when you have a Thermomix, you save a lot of money. You can make things from scratch. You don't have to buy all those expensive snacks and, you know, things that you put in lunch boxes. You can quickly make your own. You saw how quickly it was to make these muffins. So you do save a lot of money. You put it toward your Thermomix. And I paid mine off over 9 months instead of 3 years, just by putting all the money I was saving with my shopping and all the takeaways and all that. Even just simple things like making pizza instead of buying pizzas, huge saving. I was saving over $40 a week, huge saving. So when your Thermomix is costing you only $16 a week, that is a brilliant way of purchasing your Thermomix. So if you know anyone who you think might need one, this is the right time to let them know and send them our way, and we can look after them. I think I've shown you everything. And up to the next presenter.
Thank you so much, Chloe. That was awesome. They look so professional. They look like something you'd buy in a shop. And like you say, the cost saving, when you're buying something like that in the shops, each individual one, I mean, what are you looking at? $5, $6 sometimes because of the ingredients?
Oh yes, particularly if they're all, you know, gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free. Really, yeah, you'll be looking at spending that sometimes more. So
amazing. So thank you. Okay, we now have the lovely Felicity, who is going to show us how to make 5-seed energy bars. I'm just going to find you, Felicity. Here we go. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Clelia. I can't wait to make them. I know my kids will love them. I just won't mention the carrot part of them. Something I'd suggest that we all do, and I know I've done, is I've set up my own collection in Cookie Doo called Lunchboxes. And in that collection, I have, the 5-seed energy bars that I'm about to make for you. But this morning I made meatball subs. I would have put it into my Thermomix lunchbox, but the husband and one of the kids took them. That's the meatballs, and that's the tomato sauce. They cook, you make the mix in the Thermomix, and then you steam them in the up in the top. So you're not having to use the oven or the fry pan, and the Varoma will cook them beautifully. I can tell you they're absolutely delicious, and will go down a treat with the kids. Another thing which I made last week was macadamia protein balls with coconut butter. Now, obviously for school, for the kids' lunchboxes, you can't have macadamias or any nuts, but this coconut butter is instead of having a nut butter, which is what you'd normally have in your protein balls. So if you use that coconut butter, swap out the macadamias for apricots or some other fruit, you'll have delicious protein balls, which will also keep the kids full. So let's get started. So the 5-seed energy bars, I've got it in my preset. So I preheated the oven to 160 degrees. I've lined a cake tin. And first we're going to start with 30 grams of flax seeds. You just wait to see how many good things I squeeze into these protein bars. So flax seeds. Once you get a Thermomix, and I know a lot of you will already have them, you'll find that by keeping all your basics on stock in your pantry, there's always something that you can easily make. And if you're lucky, your husband and kids will make them too. So we've got 30 grams of flax seeds, linseeds. And then we're going to mix them for 30 seconds. So you're going to lose me and you'll probably end up with Anthea while these are grinding. So it's going to grind for 30 seconds on high speed, and this is all preset in through Cookie Do onto the TM6. So I'll be back.
Okay, so I will just quickly with the ones that she was talking about, the coconut butter, the macadamia ones. That coconut butter, it makes about 3 batches, so you can do 3 batches from it. And the macadamia balls we keep in the freezer. They're awesome just to get out for snacks. And we find that with a lot of the protein balls that you make, you can keep them in the freezer, get them out on the day that you want them, and they'll be great for by the time the kids get them at lunchtime. And just really quickly, I want to tell you about, we haven't talked about it yet, the magic bean cake. So this is another one of these moist chocolate cakes where you can fool the kids into thinking that they're having chocolate cake when actually you're throwing loads of protein and really good things in there. It actually has kidney beans in it. So I sent my one of my kids to school with them as their birthday cake. So I've made little muffins out of the magic bean cake. And I whispered to the teacher what was in them just so that she knew, and had a little bit of a laugh about, you know, they think it's chocolate, I think it's a treat. And when my son came home, I was like, oh, you know, did everyone like the chocolate cakes? He's like, yeah, everyone had them. And I said, oh, you know, did you have any left for your sister? And he was like, yeah, so-and-so didn't have one, but I gave it to my sister. And I was like, okay. And he said, why did you whisper to the teacher? And I said, oh, because I was just telling her what was in them that was a secret ingredient. And I said, red kidney beans. And he was like, oh, it's a good job so-and-so didn't have one because she's allergic to them. So just a little bit of a lesson. Sometimes hiding the kidney beans in there, it's not just about nuts. So good job I mentioned it to the teacher anyway. I'm going to send you back over to Felicity because she'll be ready for you now.
Okay, so we've got the linseeds ground down. I've just scraped the bottoms of the bowl and you'd never know what they are now. We're going to add white chia seeds next. I'm going to tear the scales back down to 0. So you're not having to have scales and you're not having to have everything pre-measured. So 50 grams. When I decided I was going to cook this today, I didn't have to go to the supermarket. I had everything here. 100 grams of pepitas. Give or take. And 100 grams of sunflowers. Sunflower seeds. So the Thermomix is leading me through all of this. I tend to have a lot on my plate, so I find this method of cooking really suits me. I've ducked time in my lunch hour to do this, so not a heck of a lot of planning went in. So 50 grams of, whoops, I've gone too many sesame seeds and not enough, so it should be sunflower seeds. So I'll do 100 grams now of sunflower seeds. And 80 grams of beautiful cranberries. $40 grams of shredded coconut. My 15-year-old started the day today with basketball training at 6:45. He will finish with touch footy and touch footy reffing about 8 o'clock tonight. So it's important that I have plenty of stuff on hand in his lunchbox to keep him going all day. I'm sure your kids are all the same. Got 3 other kids who are all working, and my husband, and everybody packs and takes their lunchbox. And they're all more than capable of making this stuff themselves. 60 grams of pure maple syrup, and I just added some vanilla extract. When I get organised, I'm going to be making my own pure vanilla bean paste. The recipes are all flexible. so you can adapt. Let's hope that we have enough maple syrup. We need 60 grams, but there is someone in my house who drinks this. I'm not quite sure who yet, but I will track them down, probably by the sticky trail. There we go, we've got 45 grams, not too bad. And next is rice malt syrup. So I will increase my rice malt syrup, another good staple to have in your pantry. So I'll add an extra 15 grams of this to make up for the lack of maple syrup. Okay, now we're going to insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl. And next. So this is going to be 20 seconds, obviously no heat, and it will be speed 4. So it tells me along the bottom, idiot proof, works well. Here we go.
Another tip for something that can be made on the morning of school, which I didn't ever think I'd be doing before school, is just making things like Anzac cookies. My 10-year-old makes Anzac cookies herself. I do the oven part, but apart from all of that, she does all of it, which is awesome for recess. So it's another great recipe, just from the basic cookbooks, another great one to add to your collections.
Okay, so here we go. Let's have a look and see what we've got. How good does that look? So we've got our cranberries, our coconut, the chia seeds, lots of sesame seeds, our sunflower seeds, and just because I'm a good mum and someone hasn't eaten them, I'm going to tip in some white chopped chips. Okay, so my next step is to tip this into a tray and then cook it in the oven for 30 minutes on 150. So thanks for joining me, everybody, and enjoy your rainy Friday and your weekend.
Thank you so much, Felicity. So I am going to piece together the sushi. So I'll just spotlight my other camera. Okay, so I've had this sitting here just to show you. This has been sitting here for ever since we started, maybe about half an hour. And this is curled up because there's a humidity. So I'm not going to use this one, but just so you know, you don't want to leave them sitting around. So the packet that I'm using, it's this one, which is readily available at Woolworths or Coles. You take your sheet out. It says on the instructions, shiny side down. So we'll pop the shiny side down on this bamboo mat. Again, you can pick this up from Woolworths. I've got my rice here that we've pre-prepared. I've got a spoon. I'm just going to spoon the rice onto my nori seaweed. Little tip here, when you're flattening it out, it sticks to the spoon, have a little bowl of water to hand and just stick that spoon in every now and then, and it helps you to smooth it out. So I'm just going to get this all on. What you want to do is you want to try and get it all the way to the edges, the side edges of the seaweed, and you want to leave a little gap at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to do this nice and quickly for you. You can put as much or as little rice in this as you like. My kids like it to be quite chunky, so I tend to put as much as I can in. And in terms of fillings as well, so with the fillings, you can put anything you like in. You can just go vegetarian, you can put carrots, you can put cucumber, avocado. Like I said before, the favorite in our house is tuna. So I mix up some tuna with mayonnaise, often store-bought, but if I have homemade in the fridge, I'll use that. The mayonnaise on the basic cookbook is so simple and foolproof to make yourself. And it just goes to show you what few ingredients you actually need to make your own mayonnaise. Now, I know it's not for everybody to make everything from scratch, but if you wanted to, just so you know, it's there for you to be able to do it yourself. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to add my tuna. So with the tuna, you want to get it into a nice little line towards one end. Let's pop that in here. Nothing needs to be perfect with this. I was getting sushi from the school canteen for my kids, and it was costing me $4 each. And when you've got 4 of them, it soon adds up. So as soon as I was able to make my own, I was like, this is winning. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of avocado on here. So just the avocado on top. Sometimes we put spring onion in it as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to wash my hands quickly. Now for the rolling. So it is not complicated. We're just going to take the mat here, roll it up. We're squishing all the contents down together. Hold it here, squish it in. Using your fingers, just use that bamboo. Once you've got it nice and squished, you can lift it up a little and then you can roll it some more. So rolling it all the way, squishing it together just to keep it nice and compact. At the end of it, we're going to come all the way to the end. We want to just dampen the seaweed. So I just use a little, either my fingers or if I have a pastry brush handy with that water, just get a little bit of water on that edge all the way along. Continue to roll it so it seals. Roll it all the way down. Just give it another squeeze. And then we will unroll. I'm then going to just squish those edges in. I'm always generous to the edge because there's nothing worse than having a sushi with nothing in the edge. Okay, now when you're cutting your sushi, you can cut it on this, but just be sure you're not going to cut straight through the bamboo. Always use a sharp knife. When I'm making for my kids' lunch boxes, I just cut it in half and they take a whole piece in each. So just want to show you what that looks like. So there we have. Let's hold that up to the camera there. So you've got your sushi with tuna and the avocado. I've also, so for afternoon snacks, if I've made extra, what I do is I sometimes just cut them into little portions like this, serve it up with some tamari, which I use instead of soy sauce. And away we go. Nice and simple. So cost saving, nutritious, easy to pop in a lunchbox. You can either wrap it up in Glad wrap or you can just pop it into a container. Okay, I'm just going to spotlight myself so I can see you all. Does anyone have any questions about making sushi? Anything that you can add into it? It's so easy. It really is something that you can just do on the morning of school. Highly recommend giving it a go. Don't be scared of the rolling of it. It takes, you know, the first time it might not look amazing, but it still will taste good, and just keep going with it because it's something that's going to save you a hell of a lot of money if that's something that your kids like to eat. Something else I want to show you, with my children as well, a lot of them like to have leftover dinners. So whatever I've made in the evening, if I've made extra, I will use one of these. So we used to sell these in the mix shop. I've looked today and I can't see them anymore. So it's just a little thermos. They're brilliant size for the kids. You've got a little spoon in the top, and I just tend to fill it with hot water, so boiling water, whilst I'm heating up whatever I'm putting in for them, and pack them away with that. And they've got a nice nutritious meal. If I've made it the night before, it saves me there's hardly any time involved in sorting that out on the day. Something else I want to show you is we were talking about gift with purchase. So anyone who purchases from lunchtime today until the end of February will also get the option to select these as your free gifts. Now, this is a thermo server. If you don't already have a thermo server, I'll just explain how good they are. So this is a 2.6 litre thermo server. It basically keeps your food hot or cold for up to 2 hours. Depending on how much food you've got in there, the more food you've got in there, the longer it will keep, because of the amount of air that's in there that would cool or heat it up. Thermo servers you can get, if you've already got a Thermomix and you don't have your thermo server, they also host rewards. So I highly recommend getting onto your consultant if you haven't earned one as a host, because all you need to do is come along to one of these events, invite 2 people along, and you get access to these host rewards at a reduced discount. If you know somebody who's looking to buy a Thermomix, then why not invite them along, because then you'll be able to get access to free thermo servers. So one of the things I like to do with this is if I'm making a curry, for example, I might make my rice first, stick the rice in here, and that will sit on the table ready to be served while I'm making the actual curry. So lots and lots and lots of uses for it. This is an absolute winner and a great gift with purchase for anyone who hasn't got their Thermomix. The other thing that comes with it this month is the Everyday Cookbook. So this Everyday Cooking for Thermomix Families, you can tell just by all of these little bits of paper in here how well used this book is. It is awesome for everything. Desserts, mains is one of my go-to books. You all have access to this in Cookie Do. So if you want to explore Cookie Do, then please have a look through this book. It's got lots of favorites for us in there. Those are what we have on offer. Now I'm going to pass you over now to Rochelle, who's going to show us how to make mini pizza scrolls.
Hello, how are you? Thank you. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Rochelle Shirelli, also the Modern Seed over on Instagram and Facebook. And I have a little man who is 19 months old, and I'm also 31 weeks pregnant. So if you see me jump for a second, I swear this baby's trying to turn or do something today. So bear with me. So clearly I mentioned, and so did Ellen, talked about the Whole Food Child Cookbook. This is a big staple in our house as well. There's so many great little recipes that you can cook from, snack ideas, things for the family, purees, if that's where your kids are at. What's great, I think, is that there's snacks that can, it's not just for toddlers, not just for school kids, it's for everybody. So chucking things in the freezer, so you've always got something on hand, whether you're taking it to work or whatever, is super handy. And personally, I like her style of cooking. She uses, minimal sugars, non-refined sugars, gives you alternatives to dairy, better wheat options, things like that. So that's a really great one. And that is in your Cookie Do platform. So make sure that you check that out and see what's in there. So today I'm going off the base of the spelt margarita pizza, but I'm actually making little mini pizza scrolls. So these are really great for, lunchtime or afternoon snacks or something like that. My husband's an electrician, so he also needs some nice healthy snacks to take to work and have in his lunchbox, because he obviously works here, there and everywhere. So these are very versatile. I did a little magic of TV thing, and I filmed myself making the dough yesterday to speed things up. So I'm going to show you how easy it is. If you haven't seen this and you don't know anything about this, so basically Thermomix has one blade and it can knead your dough for you. So if you own a Thermomix and you haven't tried the pizza dough, making bread, scrolls, things like that, pasta, you've got to give it a go. It's so easy and so simple. You can definitely save so much money with making pizzas at home, and it's kind of fun, and you get to add what you want, have control of your ingredients, have control of what's going into your food, and then into your own body and into your kids' bodies and your family's bodies. So big priority for us in our home. So let me just find this. I'm going to show you. Oh, wait, no, I need to share my screen, don't I? Hang on, share screen. There we are. Share. Okay, so I can see you, Ellen. Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see that okay? Okay, awesome, cool. I'm going to press play. Okay, so you can see there I'm going into the spelt margarita pizza recipe. It says to grease a large bowl and set aside. I'm going to hit next. Okay, so I'm going to add in 280 grams of filtered water. So as most of you know, the Thermomix has the inbuilt scales. So that's just going to weigh that for me as I tip the water in. And what I love about this is it saves all these, half a cup, 2 cups. And the biggest pet peeve is when you're using a measuring jug and then you use liquid and then you need to add flour and then it all sticks. And it's so, yeah, Thermomix kind of eliminates that. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of dried instant yeast. So that's going in. Then we've got a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, 20 grams. So that is going in straight from my jar into the Thermomix. So I choose to skip this step with the salt, and I generally add it later, and I'll explain why. Chucking in a teaspoon of coconut sugar. As we know, it's an unrefined sugar, so it's a bit of a healthier alternative. But personally, in pizza doughs and stuff, I still use raw sugar sometimes because that yeast feeds off that sugar, and that's what gives you that yummy fluffy dough as well. So, and here we go. So it's going to knead it. Oh, sorry, it's going to mix it now for 2 minutes. It's pre-selected it for 2 minutes, 37 degrees at speed 2. So I'm going to speed this up. And basically what that is doing is activating that yeast so that then is going to do its thing. All right, so we're adding in the spelt flour, 250 grams, straight into the mixing bowl from the jar. So no measuring cups, things like that. Less cleanup, which I think we all like. I've chosen to use a wholemeal baker's flour. I'll be honest, my husband doesn't love it. He is a true Italian and would prefer the white dough through and through, but I'm making it, so he just has to deal with it sometimes. So we're chucking in 270 grams of baker's flour. I go between, I buy a lot of my nuts, seeds, flours, pastas, rice, all that stuff in bulk. I sometimes go to Source Bulk Foods and get that. You can see that scabby paper bag, but I've got a big thing of my baker's flours, a big tub. Manly Co-op is also an awesome option, which is next door to Coles down in Manly. So if you're looking for a bulk food option between those two, I find they're the best. And Manly Co-op's really reasonable with price. So, okay, so now it's just going to mix the dough, the yeast, the water, the oil, all that sort of stuff together. And I have just added the salt into this step. So I choose to do that after the yeast has been activated. And it's just a little bit of salt, it's not much. So, and then this is where it's going to knead the dough. So for 1.5 minutes, that same blade is going to pull all that stuff together, and that's going to knead it. So speed this up. And then what I'm going to get out of that is, this is where my camera skills go a little bit dodgy, but you can see that's how it's brought it all together. So because it's a spelt flour and a wholemeal flour, it doesn't come together in the same way that if you're making a pizza dough just with a plain white baker's flour does, but it still comes together nicely. And then I'm going to wrap that into a silicone bread mat, which is again one of the host rewards. These are amazing. I used to put flour all over the bench to roll out my dough and things like that, and these just basically, you don't need any of that. So much less mess. I just wrap it up. As you can kind of see, it's not the best camera, but wrap the dough up, and then I'm going to set that aside for an hour to prove. So I'm going to hit stop sharing. There it is there. Stop sharing. Okay, and then we're back to me. So what you do after it's coming to a ball is just move this down. And I have pre-rolled because, look, my rolling skills, I'll be honest, are not great. I'm actually quite impressed with how I've done here. My rolling skills aren't great. So this is a half batch. So I did half yesterday. This is the other half of the dough. I've kept it in the fridge. So that's another thing you can do if you find you've got leftover dough. Take it out, let it kind of reprove, get back to room temp, and then you can roll it out. So here's my dough ready to go. Part of this recipe as well uses the, what am I trying to say? Part of this recipe makes a pasta sauce. And there's 2 recipes in this book. There's the mini pasta sauce and the spelt pizza. The pasta sauce has, I'll read out the ingredients. I'm not going to make it for you because I've pre-made it. I freeze it into little portions and then I defrost that, mix it into pasta, add in some liver and things like that if I'm trying to get a really quick and nutritious meal into my son. We use it on our pizza dough, things like that. My husband, again, is very fussy about what he eats and, has a lot to say about what veggies I'm putting in. So this is one that we use now for all our pizzas. So he just deals with it and eats all these veggies and thinks it's amazing. So the pasta sauce has in it, where are we? Oh, this one doesn't have it. How funny. Okay, hang on. I'm going to read it to you because there are so many. So this is telling me to go back and refer to another recipe. But similar to if you're a Thermi owner, then you would know that you generally make the stock paste and how easy that is, and you chuck everything in, you let it cook. This is very similar. So the ingredients in this vegetable sauce are brown onion, garlic cloves, carrot, pumpkin, ripe tomatoes, tomato paste, zucchini, mushrooms, and fresh basil. So you can see it's loaded with vegetables. So even if you make these super simple, just with some sauce and veg, sauce and cheese, there's lots of veggies going in there, and you don't have fussy eaters picking them out, telling you they're not going to eat it. So jumping around. Can I blame baby brain on this one? Okay, let's do our sauce. Move you down. So you can see that. So this is really simple. This is what the sauce looks like, nice and thick. So that's just been defrosted. So I just coat this whole thing with pasta sauce and put as much as you like on there. And it's got this really yummy smell. So this doesn't have any salt in it. Because it is, you'll find that a lot of the recipes from this collection have minimal salt, and she'll always make a note of it, that salt is optional, because as we know, kids under 1 shouldn't have salt. So if you are making this for adults, I love salty food, so I do add salt to mine afterwards, but that's just on there like that. The next thing I am going to do is grate some cheese. So I know Ellen briefly spoke about it as well. So I'm just going to go back to the manual mode and do this. One thing when you do buy your Thermomix, you all get this basic cookbook. At the back of your book, there is an awesome guide that's got sort of like a cheat sheet on, the chopping functions, grate, chop, crush, mill, grind, steaming, all those sorts of things. So if you're just looking to do a little bit of, I'm making something else, I want to grate some cheese, or I want to steam some chicken or steam some broccoli or something like that, you can refer to the back of this just to see how long you should be cooking it for, how much water you should be using, cooking time, temperature, things like that. So this is really great. So I'm going to chuck in, I've just got a mixture here of mozzarella and cheddar cheese. So chuck that in. The mozzarella's gone a bit soft. So put that in there. And then I'm just going to turn this to 5 seconds, speed 7. And that's going to give me my cheese. So the cheese I've used, clearly I would be able to correct me on that. It's some kind of mozzarella. It's really, really soft. So I don't know if it's true mozzarella or if it's the Fjord do something. I'm not sure. But
Probably not, but I'm sure it works fine.
So there you go. After 5 seconds, there's my cheese. So if you're doing pizzas and that kind of thing, this is a much quicker way to grate. You can chuck in Parmesan too. Much quicker way to grate your cheese to go on your pizzas. So I'm just going to scoop this out, put this down there, scoop this out onto here, and then I'm going to spread it all out. So because that cheese is really soft, the cheddar's kind of helped make it a little bit more crumbly, which is good. But because we're going to roll these, it kind of doesn't matter that there's clumps because it'll all melt in together. I like to do these as well. You can make bigger ones, and I like to add in mushrooms, spinach. On my husband's ones, he likes salami and ham. Go figure. So I'll do a half. If I do a big batch, I might do half salami and ham for him, and then half of veg for my son and I. So all I'm going to do now, so you can see this is the silicone mat. So this is just lifting off nicely, and all I'm going to do now is roll. So it's really straightforward, really easy. Roll that all in. And then once you get to, pull this back, once you get to sort of this point, I always grab the edge of the dough and pull it over. I think you can actually add water to this, similar to the sushi technique, which was amazing to watch, by the way. But I'm just going to kind of go rough with it right now. Then I use this lovely bowl scraper, but I find that it's really great for actually cutting the dough and not cutting the silicone mat. So you've got to be careful when you can't use a sharp knife on these mats, because it obviously will cut it. So I find this is really great. I did see that there is a stainless steel version of a dough cutter that's just been released on the mix shop. So I haven't looked though to see if it's safe with these, but that looks pretty cool. So all I do, cut it in half like that, and then I just make my little scrolls that way. Cut these. I'll be honest, I'm still working on my scrolls, trying to get pretty little shapes. They do sometimes flatten out a little bit, but anyway, that's okay. So I'll then align them onto the mat that I've got here. This again, so this is part the duo. So the silicone mat as well as the oven liner is a little duo pack with the host rewards if you do host a demo, or if you come to one of these classes and invite a friend or two along. They're definitely worth it and make life a lot easier, a lot cleaner, help the environment with less baking paper and things like that. So I just pop those on, and then with the power of TV, sorry, this is what you get at the end. So I chuck it into an oven, cold oven, and I'll pop this in the notes, but cold oven, 200 degrees for 15 minutes. And I find that's perfect. This is what you get. So that'll make, we did eat some yesterday, but I think it makes about 24, which is pretty good. And then they'll freeze. And then again, they fit into these awesome little collapsible lunch boxes. Chuck 2 in, can even chuck another one in, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's it. Oh, the other thing, I don't know, we're kind of running out of time, so I'll just be very quick. But also part of the host rewards, if you've seen until the end of Feb, a special offer is if you host a demo and someone, I think it's $100 if someone doesn't purchase, but if they do purchase, it's $49. This is the Meter Plus. So this is basically a little thermometer that goes into your meat, whether it's inside the Varoma on your Thermomix, in the oven, on the barbecue, all types of meat. So chicken breast all the way up to a big whole chicken, leg of lamb, that kind of thing. And it basically syncs it to your phone. And your phone will tell you when it's ready, and then you pull it out and it's perfect. So you can decide how you want your meat. It's great for vegetarians who cook meat for others but don't eat meat. So they might not know, you know, the different sort of consistencies and things like that and how long to cook it for. So yeah, they're really great. Check that out. Chat to your consultant. Highly recommend getting your hands on one of those. So yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. Okay, so just a couple of things that came up in the chat there. So a couple of tips on how you can cut those scrolls nice and cleanly without squishing them: floss or fishing line. So you get it underneath and you just pull it like that and it just kind of cuts through nice and easily. I think we've answered all the other questions. Does anybody else have a question that hasn't been answered? If so, pop it back in the chat. We just need to pop back to Ellen to see those frittatas that she has cooked. So I'm just going to change the screen so we can see. Oh, has Ellen popped off? Oh, I'm just letting her back in. While she comes back in to show you that, I'm just going to stick a poll up, just a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind just answering those. But then I'll just launch that now. So just interested to see if you would be interested in hosting or attending another cooking class, or hosting so that you can access those host rewards. Or if you are thinking about purchasing a TM6, then let us know there, and we'll definitely make sure that your consultant knows about it. Ellen, I'll just pop back to you so you can show us your finished article.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. I had some computer troubles and it's just frozen. So we're back, thank goodness we have a phone here. So our quiches are cooked, or frittatas, sorry, and they are amazing. I'm sorry, but I was hungry, so I ate a couple. This made probably easily a batch of mini 424, mini 24. And as you can see, they look delicious. They just baked 20 minutes and I just bake them till they're golden brown, and they're really tasty, really easy. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Back to you, Anthea.
Thank you. Okay, so just quickly before we go, I would like to thank each and every one of these amazing consultants who have made today possible for you all. I'm going to do a round of applause for everyone. Thank you. It was amazing. I've been inspired. There's things that I now want to go away and cook. Those of you who've joined us, I'm going to hang on for another 5-10 minutes if you want to stick around and ask any questions, as I'm sure some of the consultants will as well. With the mix shop, we were showing you quite a few mix shop items. Please remember to put your consultant's name in if you do decide to go and purchase anything off the mix shop. And please go away and try some of these dishes and show us. Pop it into our Facebook group. Can someone remind me the name of it? I'm going to put it in the email to you if you aren't on it already. It's the Insiders Group, Hawkesbury to the Hills, I believe. Or just send pictures of what you're making to your consultant to share, so that we know that you are getting the most out of your Thermomix. Thank you again for joining us. If you wouldn't mind completing that poll, and we will stick around.
I'm just going to say something cheeky, because I know some people, Naked Foods is amazing. It's really good. But if you're in Manly, hot tip, I did a little comparison, and even with the 20% off, Manly Co-op is cheaper. So give them a go. It's a co-op, so they need your business in order to survive and run. But I did a little poll, and it's a lot cheaper, especially maple syrup and things like that. So
awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Hot tip.
Please feel free to come off mute. Anyone who does want to ask a question, we welcome any chat. We're not scary.
With the scrolls, I'm Italian, so I do the Italian version. I'm like your husband, Rochelle. You can use it's called 3 cheese spinach scrolls recipe on Cookie Dough, and you don't have to use spinach. And what it does, sorry, this is my timer for the muffins. So what you can do, you can just use that one as a base for the normal pizza dough, and also for the filling. So it grates the cheese at the start and all that. You can skip the spinach part, and then you just do the pizza and you just roll them as Rochelle did. That's the traditional pizza dough. It's all guided, really easy. And what I do, if I do the spinach part, I leave a bit of spinach in the bowl. I don't clean it completely, and then I do the pizza dough on top of it, and the dough comes out green. And my son loves it because he thinks it's Hulk pizza dough. That's how I call it. And he thinks it's pretty funny, and he's also eating spinach in its pizza dough, which is pretty cool. It actually looks really green. Like it's actually pretty nice to see. And we might pop that recipe in our email, so you can also have the Italian version, I guess.
Thank you. Any other questions for those of you that are still on? I'll give you 30 seconds to come off mute if you want to ask a question.
I'll just say, while I've been listening to everyone else cook, I was making more of those meatballs. And it just shows that you can be busy with your Thermomix while you're doing something else. And the point I'm at now is where I'm rolling the mixture, and it's come up with the little wonderful video where it shows you how to roll them. So people without the TM6 won't have seen that, but I love it when that pops up. So I did actually watch the little video to make sure that I was rolling them to the right size. And then you pop them into the Varoma, the top tray and the bottom, and it's all cooked like that. So I take my Thermomix with my travel bag out to our farm, and we've got a dodgy old boat oven out there. But even if you're away camping or in your caravan, this would be a great little lunch or snack to whip up. And the tomato sauce that it makes, because it has tomatoey sauce that you're cooking underneath while the meatballs are steaming. So excellent recipe, highly recommend it. Next time I'll chuck some herbs in them though too. But thank you for a lovely class. I've enjoyed it and learned so.
Okay, so those of you who are still on, I am just going to say goodbye and thank you, and I'll just pop you off so we can have a little recap together. I'll just stop recording.